like Adam Sandler's divorced dad syndrome. And I was like, what? In that video about resistance against fascism and what it looks to actually organize an effective, sustained movement to dismantle a fascist state, I mentioned that my 21-year-old daughter compared the fact that too many Democrats think that we're just going to fix this in the midterms, or that if 3.5% of people show up on Saturday to a protest, that like Republicans are just going to lay down, the fascists are going to lay down and quit. And how she likened it to the rom-com movie trope of the divorced dad who was not good to his wife and kids and has been booted out. Now he realizes like, oh shit, I had it really good and I want all of that back. And so he tries to put together one grand gesture. And the whole plot of the rom-com is about how he wants his family back. He's going to enact this one grand gesture and they're all going to forget the ways he was a shitty dad and father. And they're just going to take him back and then it will be happily ever after for him. Classic Adam Sandler divorced dad trope. Not the only one. There's a lot of movies like that. And my daughter was saying that trope is very much how too many establishment folks see politics in America, see their obligation in the resistance movement. One grand gesture, we all turn out on a Saturday. One grand gesture, we all show up and vote in the midterms. And all of this will go back to normal. The family will welcome us back. It'll be back to the idyllic version of reality we had before. And that is just a myth. We are not going back. There is no going back. There is no going back to what we had before, because what existed before was an illusion. And it is going to take so much more work than just voting in the midterms or showing up to a Saturday protest to stop this. That's the context for the video on which I am getting comments from divorced dads saying shit like this. You could have just stopped at your basic description of divorced dads and not painted us with that broad brush. Not all mothers are motherly. There was another comment that was like, for every man who didn't know how to be a good husband and father, there were parents who didn't show him the way. And look, like I'm married to a man. 2 of my children are sons. I don't have man-hating content on this channel. I criticize the patriarchy a lot. I talk about toxic masculinity a lot and how it is unhealthy for everybody of every gender. It harms everybody of every gender to live under the patriarchy and to have a cultural standard of toxic masculinity. But every time I talk about that, and apparently when I talk about a rom-com trope, divorced dads got to be manufacturing offense. Divorced dads got to come in and center their own feelings. Why is it that you are making it sound like all divorced dads are like this? Some of us have like bitter, nasty ex-wives or whatever you want to say. What the fuck? Maybe take a second and reflect on why you need to center yourself in a conversation that was about resisting an autocratic regime and the level of sacrifice and commitment that we all have to accept and involve ourselves in order to be able to stop this madness. You took all of that. And the fact that my 21-year-old daughter was like, oh, here's a really good illustration. Here's a really good metaphor for the way that so many establishment Democrats are underestimating what is required of us at this moment in history. And you made that all about your butthurt feelings as a divorced dad. I didn't handle you with kid gloves when I was talking about a rom-com trope. Right, on Black TikTok, they like to say a lot, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. A less nice way to say that is kick dogs hollering. Why is it that you are getting butthurt in my comments if you're like, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Why are you being so mean? I'm nothing like this. Thou doth protest too much. Likewise, this wasn't about you. The fact that you need to center your feelings and manufacture offense, that you chose to see my video and say, this must be all about me and my feelings, and now I need you to acknowledge how hurt I am over this, when it was never about you at all. You need to spend a little time unpacking that. I say that with all love and kindness in my heart. This is me giving some emotional labor to you dudes in my comments. Labor that your ex-wives don't have to do. If you feel the need to center yourself and your feelings, if you choose to make something that wasn't about you, you need to spend some time unpacking why you feel compelled to be centered, why you're so defensive. Maybe spend a little time in therapy because it wasn't about you. And honestly, I understand we have a lot of toxic individualism in this country. We have a real lack of emotional intelligence and maturity and restraint in this country. We have an awful lot of selfish people in this country, but I still believe at our core, Americans are good people. I still believe at our core, Americans want democracy. We want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all of us. I just think we are really hamstringed by toxic individualism. I think we're really hamstringed by our need to center ourselves and our feelings, by the fact that it's always all about us and not so much about other people. And definitely that comes out of the insecurity that we have in our relationships. It's something that is manufactured and harnessed and utilized by society to control us. They don't want us thinking about the well-being of other people. They don't want us decentering ourselves and focusing on community. They want us to continue to believe the myth of toxic individualism, the myth of self-sufficiency, the myth that you are the center of everything, because then we don't have to work that hard for the common good. Then we don't understand the value of sacrificing to work for the good of all people. If we're constantly prioritizing the self and our own fragility, then we're not going to be making the big sacrifices. We're not going to have the radical acceptance and be able to engage in the prolonged, sustained resistance, the sacrifice of prolonged, sustained resistance. And that's really what's necessary. So think about who benefits. Who benefits when you don't work through and deconstruct from your own need to center yourself and your own fragility. It's not only damaging to relationships with other people, it hinders our ability to have authentic relationships with other people. It also really hinders our ability to organize as the working class. It really hinders our ability to get out from under the thumb of the super rich.